Okay, so the next topic is, given your constraints, what can you do? Goal setting exercise, it's called. So what you do is you set a grand goal, and then after you've got your grand goal, then you would go and break it down into easy baby steps to get you to your grand goal. Okay, well, you need to first come up with your grand goal, and before you break it down into baby steps, you need to evaluate your grand goal. Now, the basic thing is it an achievable goal? So if I set my goal to be President of the United States, is it an achievable goal? No, it's not. First of all, I'm not an American citizen, so I'm written out of the picture right away. So that's an example of an unachievable goal. I cannot become a natural-born American citizen because I was naturally born in another country. So you have to look at these things rationally, these grand goals that you're setting for yourself. And you have to look immediately what comes to mind in the form of constraints. Otherwise, you're wasting your time goal setting. You have to have an achievable goal. And then you should have a time frame in mind as how long before I'm going to achieve my goal. Well, some people's goal is like to retire at a certain age. And that's what their goal is. And so the time frame is already set based upon the age that you want to retire at. If you're setting that goal, of course, you have to also set a goal to have a lot of money set aside so you can do the next thing in your life. Because generally speaking, when you retire, you're older and you don't want to work again. And on this planet, it takes a hell of a lot of money to be an old, retired person who has got more to do than sit in front of the television. If you plan to do that, expect to drop dead in about 2 years. Because that's what statistics say will happen to you if you retire and just sit on your ass. Okay, so after you've evaluated your goals, what is a good goal? Well, you see, you have to have a lot of factors in picking a good goal. If it's going to be your full-time thing that you're doing, first of all, are you going to be able to support yourself in a capitalist society? If not, who is going to support you? If you've got someone who is wealthy who is going to support you, maybe you can do your artistic pursuits that aren't going to pay you any money. But if you are a logical person, you would say it doesn't make a lot of sense to rely on someone else to look after me, because everyone knows that these kind of someones often decide that they want to cut you off because you have displeased them, or they've grown tired of you, or they've found something new for their fancy. So it is definitely a good idea to look at some way of getting a self-supporting thing going for yourself. So, in other lectures we've said, follow your bliss. Well, this is a lecture that says, if your bliss is to be a hockey player, the problem is that so few children that are in hockey make it to the big leagues. Yes, some of them do, but most of them don't. So if you're going to make that your big goal, it's not a good goal. because your chances of making the big league are so infinitesimally small. It's like winning the lottery. Yes, some people win the lottery, some people make the NHL, but your chances of that happening for you are very small. Someone might say, well, I'll work harder. Everyone doing that goal is working so hard. You might as well be in the lottery. There are better goals for you. Something that's achievable. It's not like, I don't think it's even a 1% chance. One hockey player out of 100 playing Pee Wee is going to make the NHL? No. It's smaller than a 1% chance. So it's a shitty goal. Throw it away. If you're a parent and you've got children and you're thinking they're going to make it in professional sports, you're being an idiot. You need to get your head examined. Give your child a guaranteed thing that they can do. The first thing that comes to mind for a young person is to go to trade school. Because if you've got a trade, you can make good money. The problem with trade school is by the time you're 30, you might have developed a physical ailment and no longer be able to do your trade. It's very likely. Physical labor, by the time you're 30, a lot of people have to give it up. Some people can keep going, but I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of people push themselves to do these physical labor kind of jobs until they get to pensionable age, and if there's early retirement, they take it because their bodies can't do it. It's very hard work. So, does that mean you shouldn't do trade school? Let's keep going, put it on the side as a fallback, but probably say don't do it. What other things you could do? Public service workers, because you get a public service union, and well, what's good and bad? It's a very highly prized kind of job. Do you have somebody in one of these public sector areas that you want to work who will pull some strings for you to get you in? If so, are you really sure they're going to be there when you're ready to have your strings pulled? All right, so that's basically how I see people getting these kind of public service jobs. Someone who's already there basically winks at the HR department and they approve your application to be whatever. But it is a highly sought after thing, and if you don't have anybody there, your chances of getting in are pretty slim. So unfortunately, let's write off public service. As good as it is, most people don't have someone there who's going to help them. Okay, well, starting your own small business. The problem is that there are plenty of businesses already out there operating with plenty of experience on how to do it. If they're still in business, that doesn't even guarantee they're going to stay in business. For example, I looked at my old yearbook from let's say the 1970s. And in those days, we used to go around to local businesses to get a donation to help publish the yearbook. And I looked through my old yearbooks and I looked at the businesses that donated, and most of them have disappeared. So even thriving businesses that had enough money to donate to the children back in the day are not around. So, for you to get into business, Well, you've got to convince people to back you. So you got to have somebody with deep pockets, which means a lot of money, who is willing to throw money at you, and they're going to, if they've got half a brain, expect you to waste the money. Because most people who do successful businesses have blown it a number of times. Most people in their first business ventures don't succeed. That's why banks actually like to see someone who's got a long track record of failed businesses. Strange but true. Why? Because they think if you've, done all these businesses, that you have learned things along the way, and compared to someone right out of high school, you've seen a lot of things that can go wrong, and you're more likely to not do the same thing again. But most banks are still going to be very leery of giving you money because most new ventures fail. Why? Well, Walmart. When Walmart came on the scene, it cleared out so many small businesses all over the planet because they had cheaper goods. And in the end, even though you had a quaint store that was closer, people are more likely to drive to Walmart to buy the cheapest version of the same thing. So big box stores killed small business. What else? Well, this is the problem, you see. Well, if you could become a teacher, it's a public service job. You've got to get a teaching degree, and then you've got to figure out who is going to hire you. If you're going to get hired in the United States, the pay is the shits. If you're going to get hired in another country, there's a huge demand for those kind of jobs. It's just a repetitive thing. Someone wanted to think about teaching because they get the summers off or something. No, it's not a good idea. So, why am I going through this process? Well, I do this every day. I keep examining options. And most of the problems are due to, well, if you want to rent a storefront, you've got to pay rent, regardless of how much money you make, unless it's a place that's going to take part of your profits in addition to the monthly rent, when that happens too. So, once again, it's not wise to go in to rent a storefront. What about an online business? Well, the thing is that the internet's been around for a long time, and these businesses have already started up, and a lot of them have failed, and the ones that are still around are the ones that ate all the other ones. And as far as multi-level marketing goes, why would you buy Amway from your friend when you can buy the same dish soap at Walmart cheaper? Various other products that they sell, multi-level marketing, you can always buy it cheaper at Walmart. So why get involved? Don't do it. Whittling down, whittling down. We're still trying to find a self-supporting kind of idea. Oh, you could go to university with the end of becoming a professional person. So, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, or a university professor. Is this a good idea? Well, okay, let's assume that you got through all the hoops and you got into one of these professional schools and you came out and 10 years later, you still want to be doing this professional job. Because what you're doing is you're buying yourself a day job. You're basically no different than someone flipping burgers at McDonald's because you're going to be doing the same thing every day. It's not terribly romantic to be a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer. It's an awful lot of work, a lot of hurdles to get through. If you're a doctor, well, you'll likely get your practice. If you're a dentist, I don't know. Doctors seem to be most in demand. But if you're a dentist or a lawyer, you've got to be good, because people will shop around. Doctors, there's a lot of places where people will take any doctor because there's not enough. So there's definitely demand for a doctor, but do you really want to be running a clinic where you've got a bunch of sick people coming through, coughing on you every day with the same kind of complaints? You're going to be prescribing the same kind of pills over and over and listening to people moan and groan about how it didn't work. What else have you got for me? Personally, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. Other kinds of jobs. A massage therapist kind of job. It's the same kind of physical labor job, where your hands might tend to get sore and tired, because I talked to massage therapists who were in, their late 20s, who were having like carpal tunnel problems with their body. Some kinds of massage, are they better than others? I do know some people who are older, much older, like in their 50s or 60s, that are doing certain kinds of massage. They're very good at it. They're basically, it's pretty much on automatic. They've done it so much, and they're in good physical shape. So, the thing is that I took courses from multiple different kinds of these kind of people, and what problems did I have coming out? Well, I didn't know the massage good enough as they did. And even though I did it a little bit, I didn't seem to have enough clientele. So I was doing some of it, out of my own apartment, and I just didn't seem to be able to attract the clientele. And the problem with massage is there's a lot of people that want happy endings, which means they want sexual services. So, no, I don't want to do sexual services for money. So it's problematic. And I would say, out of people that were in my classes, different kinds of massage, not too many of them stayed in the industry. 2%. So 2% of the people that take these massage courses stay in it. Yoga teaching training. I didn't take yoga teaching training, but again, I don't know. Some people just have the knack for getting the clientele. Teaching aerobics at a place, is it enough to pay the bills? What do they pay you to be an aerobics instructor? Well, I go through the common things that people go into, and they're fraught with problems. If you're a young person, I guess you're at the point where you're saying, what's the point of this video? The point of this video is to give you my experience and tell you The conventional ways of making a living on this planet don't cut it. They don't. And it's been that way for a long time. Okay, so how are you going to manage? Marry rich. That one is something I heard when I was about 19 years old, and it's a wonderful idea. I can't think of a better idea than marrying into money. Make sure they've got a lot of money, and make sure they don't give you a prenuptial contract that says you're limited as to how much you get upon divorce. But if you can avoid that, if you can marry into a rich family, it is the very best way to live on planet Earth. Go get them, gold diggers. I'm Jacob Marley, the ghost from A Christmas Carol, a Dickensian kind of story about Ebenezer Scrooge, who had lots of money but was a skinflint and wouldn't pay his employees much at all, so much so that the way things were going, his employee's son, Tiny Tim, was going to be dead. But Jacob Marley came into his life, along with some other experiences, and changed Mr. Scrooge, so he started spending a little bit more money on his employees. What's the point of all this, Jacob Marley? Well, Jacob Marley is going to tell you that that story by Dickens was written in about the late 1800s. And it's been shown every Christmas since then to all the people on the planet. What impact does it have on the people on the planet? If you're a capitalist, kind of rich 1% person, zero interest in Jacob Marley's story. Zero interest. So, unfortunately, on a planet that's run by Ebenezer Scrooge, before he changed his heart, I've got nothing more. Jacob Marley out.